Hello lovely people, how are you today? Welcome to YouTube Lo-Fi Week, Day 3. September has officially finished, so that means it's time for my September book reviews. That I read in September was Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. If any of you saw my last book reviews video, you'll know that I have a little Agatha Christie jar in which I pick out the names, and this is the book that was picked out. And I'm already obsessed with Miss Christie, to be honest, and I've only read one. It was just so good. I actually stayed up until about 1 o'clock on a school night to finish it, because I just needed to know. I needed to know who done it. If you've read this, you will know that the conclusion is quite different from many of Agatha Christie's novels. But, to be honest, the conclusion... wow, I literally would have never guessed it, which is kind of the point. I give Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in September was actually the biggest book of September, and it was The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. As you probably know, I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte and Wuthering Heights by Emily during the summer, and I thought I just have to read one more novel by the other sister, and then I would have read one novel from each of the sisters. This is the story of the mysterious Helen Graham, who moves into Wildfell Hall, and many people are gossiping about her and whatnot, and then we go into, like, her life. It switches narratives, which is very interesting, and we learn all about her tumultuous past, and her abusive husband, and oh, it's all so exciting. This book is regularly called the first feminist novel, and I think it was just really interesting to read it because Helen Graham has so much more strength than, let's take for example, Jane Eyre. She has to live with this abusive, alcoholic husband who just does unfeasible things. Quite odd for a Bronte novel is that this was actually a famous bestseller during the life of Anne Bronte. Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights only became famous posthumously, and Anne Bronte became a celebrity at the time, and this novel went through England at the time. What was it? Victorian England at the time, and it just, it changed the world. Not changed the world, but it really, sparked the feminist movement in a way. There is a quote which states that when Helen Graham slams the door in her husband's face, the sound reverberated through Victorian England, and I think that really just summarises the novel the best. It's a story of a woman who just is so strong, probably one of the best female protagonists ever written in fiction, and oh, it's brilliant. It's a really good Bronte novel. Not as good, I must say, as Jane Eyre, because this is very much about social classes and the social scene at the time and stuff like that. So I give The Tenant of Wildfell Hall 4 out of 5 stars. It's really very good. I highly suggest that you read it. Next book that I read in October, if you can call it a book, it's really 70 pages long, is The Tooth by Shirley Jackson. This is a collection of short stories written by the queen of American Gothic horror, even though it wasn't really Gothic, Shirley Jackson. Probably most famous for her novels The Haunting of Hill House and We've Always Lived in the Castle. And this contains probably the most famous short story of all time, The Lottery. This was really good. Her short stories are just... I can't describe it. They're not like anything I've ever read before. Her writing is really idiosyncratic towards her. And the stories, they were kind of mystical, kind of horror-inflicted. My favourite short story from this is probably Charles. I thought that was really very good. And The Witch is another one which I enjoyed as well, which was only about 6 pages long, but I really enjoyed it. It also contains The Tooth, The Intoxicated, and, of course, The Lottery. If you haven't read The Lottery, I highly suggest that you read it, just because it's The Lottery. So, yeah, I give The Tooth by Shirley Jackson 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read this month, I finished it last night, so I technically finished it on the 1st of October, but shush, right? Deep breath, guys. Deep breath. Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Oh my goodness. This is the most beautifully written novel I have ever read. Vladimir Nabokov is Russian, as you can guess, by the name. And for someone, his English obviously isn't his first language, but for someone to write such an accomplished novel in the English language, but having it not as his native language just mystifies me. How did he, like, in the same way as, like, Dickens wrote just these sentences that almost make you cry, Vladimir Nabokov, my goodness gracious, how do you even write just so... Oh my god, it's like bathing in a dictionary. Humbert falls in love with a 12-year-old girl, Lolita. That's the bones of the novel, really. And I personally think that the relationship between Humbert and Lolita is one of the most beautiful relationships ever written about in any novel ever. My god, it's like a modern day Romeo and Juliet, but not Romeo and Juliet. It's modern day Pyramus and Thisbe. The last paragraph is the most beautiful passage of writing in the English language. I can't even describe this little 300-page just masterpiece. Read this. Read Lolita. Read it now. It's one of those books like Jane Eyre that everyone has on their shelves and you're just procrastinating reading it. Oh my good god. 5 out of 5. Oh, it's so amazingly good. Read it. Read it now. Oh. Of course, do not forget that I must pick this month's Agatha Christie novel. So let me shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Ooh, wow. What is this? The ABC Murders. I've been wanting to read that one. I think it has the nicest cover. Let me get it for you. Here is The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. Oh, the plot of this just sounds so intriguing. I cannot wait to read this. So that is this month's book reviews. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope that you all, read all of these books. They're all quite good. There were no bad books this month. And until tomorrow, which is Nerimon's YouTube survey. Fun, 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 fun. I will see all you lovely people. Bye-bye.